Hello everyone! During our journey we have faced some scary things. But nothing truly prepares the Warrior of Light for the reality of Haukke Manor. Previously we went on the hunt for Lahabrea, an Asian with a spite-like mask. We found out he had tricked the youths around Little Alamigo to attempt the summoning of a primal, and we could only save few of them. But that is kind of where our leads ran dry, as we were forced to return to the Waking Sands. Thankfully, or perhaps disturbingly, the tales of a floating eyeball and brutally murdered women is our next lead. Back at the Waking Sands, we are called over by Minfilia. She tells us of another potential sighting of Lahabrea. This time in the North Shroud. Noraxia, our Sylph friend, has more information on it, so we go and approach her. Noraxia tells us that apparently an unsavory masked character has been spotted around the forest, near the area of Falkurt Float. The witness was a miner named Medrod, and we should be able to find him there. We head to Falkurt Float, and it doesn't take us long to find Medrod and his companions. The man is actually distraught by what he has seen. We try to soothe him the best we can, and finally, he does tell us a chilling tale. He did see the masked man in the forest, apparently traveling with a gigantic floating eyeball. And there have been murders. Women found brutally killed, their faces disfigured by their attacker. And he's convinced this man has something to do with it. But his companions are not so convinced. Aideen tells us that these murders are probably not murders, but simply attacks by a creature known as Cease. They probably killed the woman. We are sent over to find the Skillkin and kill a few of them to gather any clues we can find. And few bites and gashes later, we can confirm that these things are definitely not the killer. They are fierce, but not face-mutilating, murdering fierce. So with those off the list, Aideen brings up to another potential subject. As each victim was a young woman, there have been rumors going about that while they might be gone, they might not be fully gone. That is, their anger remains, and it has coalesced in a rock to the southeast, which apparently causes the rock to flash and moan. So the solution? Well, we have to go blow up the rock, bring back pieces of it, and maybe that will help us figure something out? Now, I'm not one to pass up the opportunity to blow up something, so we happily head out and blow up the rock, only for it to leave a bunch of lightning-aspected crystals. That would actually explain the flashing and the sound, as it may just have been lightning cracking within the rock. We bring those back to Aideen, who is disappointed that it did not help. While I'm honestly just kinda happy I got to make a big boom. With Aideen running out of ideas, it's Ivarol's time to speak up. He claims he may have seen this floating eyeball as well. Actually, he's pretty sure he saw it during the same time Medrod did, out to the west. And this might mean there are other bodies out there. And even more alarming, there might be more than one eyeball out there. Now, none of them dares head out to seek out bodies, so instead we are asked to go search. In this case, he is sadly correct. We do find a young woman killed not far from the appointed location. We also find a really big eyeball. It's angry too. Flying, with teeth. Why does the creature exist that is just eyes and wings and teeth? And so much hate? I'm just not okay with this. So we kill it, understandably. Then we bring the victim's body back to the authorities. We're horrified to see yet another victim. During the examination of the body, the authorities come across a button engraved with a white lily motif. We are told that a similar object was discovered on an earlier victim as well, making this a potential lead. So we have to figure out where this button comes from. Now there is one issue. The white lily is actually a surprisingly common symbol around Gridania, though this does seem to be a family crest of sort. So it's just a matter of figuring out which family this belongs to. So we headed to Gridania to start where everyone should start, by speaking to Mother Mion, who knows more people than probably anyone around the city. From here on, we are led on throughout the city, from one person to the next, till we are actually sent to speak to Singulet, a wood whaler standing near the Lancer Guild. This wood whaler makes it a personal goal of theirs to remember everyone. And, luckily for us, they do remember a man named Ursaneld wearing an identical button on his jacket. So we had to track down Ursaneld, where we find him sitting alone in the gentry ward of Gridania. We show him the button and he gives a sigh of resignation, as if a great burden sits upon his shoulders, and perhaps now he's ready to share it. And then he tells us one horrific tale. For many years he was a servant of the old and proud Dethancourt family, which resides within Haukke Manor. There he served Lady Amaldine, the current mistress of the household. He speaks of her with fondness, as he describes her beauty both of body and soul, her kindness matching her stunning looks. But during the calamities he was lucky to escape alive. She got severely injured, her face becoming disfigured, and when the bandages were removed and she saw her face for the first time, the kind woman he knew ceased to be. Unable to bear being seen, she sequestered herself within her chambers, refusing all company. She did this for several months until she suddenly started receiving odd guests, masked men which promised they could bring back what she had lost, with the ritual of rejuvenation. At first, the ritual started off innocent enough, but as time passed, it became more and more disturbing and grotesque. Till one day, one of the lady's handmaiden was bound to the bed, and the lady proceeded to mutilate the poor girl's face with such vigor that the girl died in the process. Ursandel was then given the task of disposing of the body, which he dutifully did. But when the time came to return to the house, he couldn't, so he abandoned Haukke Manor, promising to never speak of what happened there to anyone. Until we appeared, and now he asks us to please kill his lady and bring her peace in death. And that is a good thing, but I wish he had said something sooner, as it's clear the lady is the cause of the deaths around the North Shroud, so what could have been contained to a single horrific murder has become a murder of many young women. But that's not ours to fix right now. The most pressing matter at the moment is the murderous lady, so we make our way out to Haukke Manor, calling on some of our fellow Scions to assist in this deadly matter. We come upon the manor and step inside with the simple goal of ending this horror. And with the ability to join the dungeon, we can also read the description. And it reads, once used by the Seedseer as a place for spiritual reflection and meditation, Haukke Manor was long frowned upon by the people of Gridania as a symbol of access. After years of protest, the building was finally sold to a wealthy Duskwite by the name of Lady Amandine. While little is known of the lady, it was said that she was exceptionally vain, and that to maintain her impeccable beauty, she would spare no expense. From facial creams concocted from rare Coerthas honeys to shampoos derived from the milk of exotic furbulls, her daily ritual of beauty treatment escalated until it was rumored she was bathing in the blood of her virgin maidservant. No amount of man-made tinctures, however, could hide the hideous scars she eventually suffered during the calamity. And from that day forth, she was forced to turn to a darker solution, signing away her very soul in a final effort to save face. I find this description really interesting because it contrasts quite a bit with the description of the lady we got before. This might be because Duskwites are not really liked around Gridania, which we can also see in other questlines like in the Lancers Guild. So it's likely that the rumors were exceptionally harsh about this woman, and the likelihood that she was so exceptionally vain to only focus on her beauty and nothing else. And as seen in the description we can find in the duty journal is actually based more on the perception others had of her from outside the household, which was probably not the nicest of perceptions, simply because they may have been prejudiced against her simply for her being a dustwight. Though her manservant might also have viewed her in a brighter light than most, though it's hard to say which retelling is the correct one. I don't believe she was this vain and this horrible before the calamity, but I also don't think she was some angel that was so kind to everyone. I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. We make our way through the manor, killing the fiends within, and ending with the lady herself. Fun fact, this fight has actually been recently reworked, making the mechanics quite a bit different from their original version, and in my opinion, quite better. Though I am curious what you think. So if you got to experience both the old version and the new version of the fight, tell me your opinion in the comments. Which do you like better? Now, after taking down the lady, we are approached by two Asian wearing black masks. Their masks do resemble the mask of Lahabrea. They seem to work for him, as they do refer to him as Master Lahabrea. It's interesting that their rank is denoted by the color of their mask. Lahabrea's being red, marking him as quite unique, while their simple black ones mark them as underlings. But they are not here to fight. No, they were simply here to observe, to measure our strength so they could then report it back to their master. And as they vanish, we stand behind quite stunned and frustrated. But at least the job is done, so we head back to our Snelt. He asks us what happened, and we simply tell him the truth. What became of his lady? He confirms the masked men were just like those who spoke to her before this all started, though he could not confirm that these were exactly the same ones. Then he decides he wishes to turn himself in, for the crime of saying nothing, for his misplaced loyalty and cowardice. He did not do his duty to prevent the crimes that would be committed because of his silence. And I agree with him. And I am glad he goes to turn himself in, but we head back to speak to Minfilia, who is surprised at our Asian encounter. He concludes that Lahabrea seems to be taunting us. It's time therefore to inform the three nations of this elusive enemy and recommend they heighten their vigil. But that is a task for others than us. Our investigation has stopped for now, but another problem has also arisen. So it's time to summon the others and face this new threat, which we will explore in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like Final Fantasy lore videos like this, make sure to do all the good YouTube stuff. It really helps with the algorithm. It also makes me just ever so happy. If you want more videos, check out whatever is on the screen. YouTube thinks this would really work for you, and hopefully it's something you like. If you want to make sure to see all of my future stuff, subscribe, notification bell. By this point, you probably know the drill. And just thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a lovely day.